This is how to sow and grow radishes. Now, radishes are a fantastic instant gratification crop because they're pretty easy to grow and they grow really, really fast. So you can be eating radishes within a couple of months of sowing them, which is brilliant. They're therefore really good for beginner growers as well. And they give you a massive punch of that lovely peppery freshness. And spring radishes tend to be one of the first crops you get to enjoy out of the garden at the beginning of the season, which is always a really special moment. So you basically got two types of radishes. You've got radishes that are designed to be grown in spring, and you're going to sow them in really early spring, and you're going to eat them within a couple of months of sowing them. And then you've got more frost-tolerant winter radishes, and they're designed to be sown in early autumn for harvesting late autumn and into winter. Now, it's advisable not to bother trying to grow radishes through midsummer. They really don't like heat and they will almost certainly bolt. Now, you can sow your radishes directly where you want them to grow, in shallow drills. The thing to watch out for if you're going to sow them directly is pigeons love to pull out those first tender seedlings that appear, so you may need a little protection there. I prefer to sow mine in a module tray using the multi-sown method, and that's basically where you sow a number of seeds together in each module tray, and as they grow, they basically take it in turns to swell. So once you pick the largest one out of the clump, the next one will then swell and take its place. So it's a really good way of growing an awful lot of crops in a relatively small space. So to sow your radishes in the multi-sown method, you want to take a module tray and fill it with compost, and then you just want to make a shallowish depression in each hole. Now take your radish seed, and you're aiming to get roughly 4 to 5 seeds per hole. It doesn't matter if you get slightly less or slightly more, it's not a precise science. So once you've got your seeds in the holes, just take a little bit more compost and sprinkle it on top so they're covered. Now, radishes don't need extra heat in order to germinate, so even if you're sowing these in relatively early spring, they should be fine outside in a greenhouse. So once your little clump of seedlings has popped up, you don't need to worry about thinning them. You want them to grow as a group. When they're big enough to handle, you're ready to take them and plant them into their final position in rows. Keep them moist and they should produce a delicious crop for you. One potential problem to look out for is if you start seeing little holes appearing on the leaves, it could be flea beetle. That's a pest that really, really loves radishes. And if you do start to see that, you might want to think about adding a little bit of extra protection in the form of covering them with EnviroMesh. That's basically just really, really fine insect netting. So if you'd like to have a go at growing some really interesting radishes, take a look at our seed range on shegrowsveg.com.